first advice would be to do your groundwork, do a proper research, really understand the context and what are the challenges that you're facing and the change that you seek to achieve. The second one is about really communication. The key to building a successful multicultural program is to have efficient ways of communicating between the people who are developing the bits of the program in different contexts and to build a common understanding, which basically is the third piece of advice. Is understanding is the key in making a coherent approach. And the third piece of advice would be actually a negative in its form. Do not assume. Same things in different environments can mean completely different things. Citizen participation, for example, in one country, depending on the political system, can mean quite different thing than in another country. Taxes, if you're doing budget monitoring work, can have a very different form in one country as opposed to another country.
When you start working on a multi-country program, ensure that the partners in the consortium are all complementary to each other in terms of expertise and experience. So make sure that there's clarity about the role of each of the partner in the consortium, and make sure that together they all contribute to the goal that you want to achieve with your program. I have seen cases where there was overlap in terms of expertise of partners, including Oxfam, which led to unclarity and a lot of problems in the beginning of the implementation of the program. Another important part is that when you start working on the program, make sure that you involve the countries that are a part of the program early on in the process. So, for instance, another example is where I've seen that Logframe was already built before there was a face-to-face workshop with the different people from the countries, which led to difficulties because it turned out that the Logframe was not suitable for the specific context in the countries.
The top three things I would advise someone starting a multi-country program are: one, long-term strategic and flexible funding. We are talking about 15-20 years. First, we need to acknowledge the fact that nobody provides long-term funding and it is difficult to secure. But we are talking about causing a transformative change. This is a process and it evolves over time. This includes addressing institutional, legal, social, cultural, technical, and economic barriers. A meaningful multi-country program needs to be strategic, to have a strategic fundraising strategy. This kind of funding allows adaptive and changes within the different contexts. We are talking about changing people's attitudes, behaviors, policies, systems, and translating them into practical solutions, which needs a conducive environment for the poor to participate freely in making choices for sustainable living. The second thing is to establish a strategic management infrastructure within existing systems. Due to the fact that the issues we are trying to tackle are multi-level, also to avoid unsustainable structures, we must use existing systems. For example, if we are developing a civil society organization infrastructure, it should mirror strategic support, influencing potential to government and southern civil society structures. National teams will need to work closely with government decision makers and southern CSOs. Pan-African teams must focus on regional and African level, and also global teams look at global and donor agenda. This will allow a sustainable networking system connecting countries to regional and global. The third is to develop a common generic approaches and principles that are co-produced, targeting transforming systems as an underlying factor for change, creating a conscious and coherent shared understanding across the teams that are working together towards the systematic change. That is creating a clear theory of change which articulates this.
You need involvement of all the relevant stakeholders at the beginning of the process. You need to do a very good power analysis and country context analysis, as well as a very good theory of change for the successful at the end of the program.
The team would definitely need flexibility, good communication skills and coordination skills.
The pitfall of many multi-country programs is that we sometimes assume that we are talking the same language, while really we don't. And I think having that open channels of communication, sharing knowledge between different stakeholders in the program development about the context of different contexts is the only way we can really create synergies and make sure that our programs are robust, coherent, and can actually lead to joint learning and joint results.
So in terms of pitfalls and opportunities, building relationships and the way you communicate with country teams can both be an opportunity but also a pitfall.
You can pool funds from different donors together, and I have seen a case where we had one donor who was interested, and then we were able to get more donors to invest in the same program because they saw the added value.
For Oxfam, designing multi-country program is a great opportunity moving forward. I think it would enable us to use different experiences and different knowledges that we have globally, and also be more competitive, honestly, in the market, and being able to actually present to the donors initiatives that have great potential for a change. Also, the world is more and more unified in a sense. The challenges that are presented before people are not necessarily national in its character, and a lot of problems that we see today are shared among different countries.
The best thing about working in a multi-country program, one, it's very, very exciting working collectively as a team and across board on complex issues. Very, very exciting. Another exciting thing is to find that most countries, much as they are in different contexts, they actually have a lot of commonalities, though in a different context, which really indicates that there is a need for multi-country programming as a way to go for complex issues.
Being part of a multi-country program, it generates far greater knowledge. Being a part of a multi-country program means that for the country teams, but also our local partners, there is an avenue and possibility to learn from other experiences, and then to integrate successful approaches and successful practices in their own programs. It also creates a much larger platform for learning, because one thing that we should keep in mind that this is a very dynamic process, and if we want to answer the challenges that we are facing, we need to have staff and we need to have partners that are constantly learning and are able to integrate that learning in the way we are doing our work.
You bring skills and experience together, and by being able to pool such a wide variety of partners and countries, you're able to really make a very good impact.
The best thing about being part of a multi-country program is learning. So learning from each other's experiences, from each other's strategies, and from the diversity that you have from being a multi-country team.